Hi, have you ever been in a situation where someone's anger, their frustration, or their stress just boils over in the form of screaming? Maybe it's been in your family, in a workplace, or even in the middle of a crowd. It's intense, it's overwhelming. But can something as simple or perhaps as extreme as being around repeated screaming actually lead to PTSD? Today, we're going to dive into this powerful question. Explore the effects that repeated exposure to screaming can have on your mental health, and break down how these experiences might lead to something much deeper, like post traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's an important topic because while many of us may think of trauma as something that happens in a major disaster or a war zone, trauma can also arise from seemingly everyday experiences. Let's start by understanding what PTSD is. PTSD is a condition that develops after a person has been exposed to a deeply traumatic event. It's most commonly associated with experiences like combat, assault, or natural disasters. But trauma isn't confined to these extreme situations. So, what is PTSD? Post traumatic stress disorder is the emotional and psychological aftermath of witnessing or experiencing a distressing event. Symptoms might include flashbacks, nightmares, severe anxiety, and hypervigilance. These aren't just bad memories. They're experiences that continue to intrude on the person's mind, making it hard to feel safe or grounded. So, what happens when the trauma doesn't come from a single catastrophic event, but from something more subtle yet just as damaging over time? Repeated exposure to screaming, especially if it's intense and frequent, can create an environment where your nervous system is constantly on high alert. When you're exposed to loud, aggressive yelling regularly, your body begins to treat it like a threat. This isn't just emotional distress, it's a stress response. Your fight or flight system kicks in, and over time, this can create what's known as chronic stress. If this stress is unaddressed or untreated, it can start to lead to PTSD like symptoms. Now, let's be clear. Not every instance of being around loud yelling will result in PTSD. It's the pattern that matters. When you're constantly exposed to aggression in the form of yelling, especially without any form of resolution or emotional safety afterward, it can create lasting psychological wounds. The mind and body aren't designed to handle constant distress without a break. If you experience repeated episodes of being screamed at, especially in a close relationship or authority figure dynamic, your body may start to feel like it's in a constant state of threat. Over time, this can lead to emotional numbness, anxiety, or even panic attacks, all hallmarks of PTSD. But here's the good news. PTSD and the effects of trauma are not permanent. Healing is possible, and there are many ways to restore peace. If you've been affected by someone's repeated outbursts, whether in your home, your workplace, or elsewhere, acknowledging the emotional toll is the first step. One of the most important things you can do is to seek support. Therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can help process these feelings of distress. Mindfulness techniques, grounding exercises, and self care are also essential in helping your body and mind heal. It's about creating safety, both within yourself and in your environment. We must remember we all have limits. What's stressful for one person might not feel as intense for another. It's important to listen to our bodies and acknowledge when something doesn't feel right. Trauma comes in many forms, whether it's emotional, physical, or psychological, and no one should have to endure the emotional weight of constant yelling or aggression. So, can you get PTSD from someone who repeatedly screams? Yes. The psychological and emotional harm from prolonged exposure to loud, aggressive behavior can deeply affect your mental well being, but it's essential to remember that this isn't something you have to go through alone. Reach out, talk to someone, and give yourself the space to heal. You deserve peace, and it's within reach. Thanks for taking the time to explore this important topic with me today. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who might need it, and remember, healing starts with understanding. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.